Good morning, YouTube. It's been one crazy week. I'm tired. Tired. Taking Bumblebee today. Feels weird. Alright, good morning, YouTube. Today is Friday, June 12th, 2020, and it has been a crazy week. Very crazy. So Wednesday morning this week, I started getting texts at like 5:45 in the morning, and I'm just sitting there in bed like, oh my god, who's texting me? Didn't bother to look at it till about just a few minutes before 6, and it was my boss and all the supervisors texting because there was an active shooter in downtown Paso Robles by the police station, which is like about a half a mile from my work. And Paso, the city around that area, was on shelter-in-place orders. So we weren't able to go into work. What happened was the suspect was kind of lurking around the police station. It sounds like only dispatchers were inside at the time. So it started, I believe, at 3 in the morning on Wednesday, the 10th. And so they saw a suspicious person out kind of going around the building. And then he started firing at it. So police arrived, sheriff's department came to assist, and what he did was he went and hid somewhere. And then as law enforcement showed up and they started investigating and trying to find him, 2 officers had gotten out of the patrol car on foot, and I guess he was hiding somewhere and started shooting at him, and he ended up hitting Deputy Dreyfus in the face. So the bullet went into his right side of his jaw and lodged in the left side of his jaw. He was in serious but stable condition. And then he somehow got away. They were searching for him. I don't think they lifted the shelter-in-place order. I think it was lifted around 3 o'clock on Wednesday. So they figured he probably somehow maybe got back to the riverbed, or maybe he had got a ride and left town. But then they kept having sightings of him being reported. They were able to get footage off of multiple security cameras from the downtown area. So they got a pretty good picture of what the guy looked like. So they distributed that on social media. And they thought they saw him by the Grandview Apartments, which is a apartment complex that was condemned by the city or county here recently, but it's right directly across from my office. So what happened was they ended up setting up a command post that night in my office parking lot while they searched the Grandview Apartments. And then when they determined that he wasn't in there, they extended the perimeter down to the riverbed. And by morning, they had moved the command post from the social services office parking lot over to the fairgrounds. And then yesterday, I think it was at like 2:30 in the morning, he was spotted. He was on surveillance at the Chevron at 46 and 101. on Ramada Drive. The teller said they recognized him right when he came in, and as soon as he came in and bought an energy drink, as soon as he left, called the police, and then they shared that surveillance footage from him going in there. So they had to kind of set up a perimeter in the area where they believed him to be. It started, I guess, a systematic search, trying to clear the riverbed. There's a lot of homeless encampments, and the suspect was a homeless individual. There's a lot of homeless encampments down there, so I'm guessing that's why they were having problems with the helicopter, because they were trying to search for him, and you'd think at night with what was LiDAR or whatever they have, infrared they use, that you'd be able to see someone out hiding in the bushes. But listening to the scanner throughout the day, there is probably dozens that sound like homeless encampments. You keep hearing them say, oh, there's someone in a sleeping bag, can't see who they look like, or you know, there's a bunch of people in this area. So I guess it was just kind of hard, because there's hundreds of homeless people that live down in the riverbed and have encampments all throughout Paso Robles. So anyways, they were doing a search of the riverbed and the surrounding areas, and at lunchtime I went at 1 o'clock and decided to take a ride by where they were searching. However, I only saw a couple cop cars, and most of them were they were driving. I think maybe 2 cops I saw. I didn't really see anything, and they were back so far off the road you couldn't see them anyways. But I get back to work, and then it was probably about an hour later. I think it was just maybe a half hour after I got back. I think it was like around 2:30. I'll have to look at my text messages. All of a sudden, an officer came screaming over the scanner that shots fired, shots fired. Officers hitting the leg. Said he's applying, you know, medical assistance, but they need to get him to a hospital. So then, and according to the press conference, when this occurred, I think both times, there was another shooting that happens a little bit later. They weren't really like actively searching; they were just on perimeter, and he fired at him again from like under a tree or hidden in a bush. The helicopter had spotted him. This is I don't understand. The helicopter kept losing him. The helicopter said there's the suspect is under a tree in prone position. He's like describing where it's at, and then like an hour and a half goes by, and they're looking for him again. And I don't hear the helicopter say, "Oh, he's still here," or "He moved here." So it's crazy how the helicopter kept losing this guy. Especially there wasn't a whole lot of cover where this was at. They ended up then about an hour and a half later, all of a sudden it comes in again. Shots fired, multiple officers hit. They need a medevac right away. And then another guy comes over there and says, "I can see him through my glass, the subject isn't moving." So I'm taking that meant that they got him. It probably took about 30 minutes after that before they got the Bearcat over there. First, their priority was getting the officers out. I think they said I think there was a total of 5 or 6 officers between the 2 days hit, and I'm not positive. I've heard different numbers, but at least 2 of them were transported to hospital. One, I guess it was minor injuries and was being treated on scene at the command post. So they ended up going in, and then it came over the air. They confirmed he was 1144, which is deceased. And then it came back on and says, "Can you confirm that this is the suspect?" And so they came back. "Yeah, confirmed. This is the target." But then they came on. Hold on, there might be a second shooter. I guess there was something in their quick preliminary investigation that gave them the idea there might be a second shooter. I have an idea it was because he was using 2 handguns, and they found 2 different shell casings of ammunition. Maybe they didn't find the other gun right away, but at the press conference they ended up saying that he had 2, I can't remember if they said 2 handguns or 2 guns. The sheriff didn't want to say what kind of weapons they were or what caliber or millimeter, but on the air when I was listening Wednesday, Officers transmitted they found multiple 9mm shell casings and 40 caliber casings. So I'm assuming he just had, sounds like he had 2 semi-automatic pistols, no rifle. At least it doesn't sound like he had a rifle. Looking at an aerial map on Google Earth of where the shooter was and where they were setting a perimeter up, it's crazy that this kid, he was 22 years old, homeless person, he had severe mental health issues, we found out, you know, over the past day or two. How he was hitting these officers at, I say, a pretty good range for the handgun. Where they ended up killing him was near the barn, and oh, you know what, we might be going to, it was right around here. He was out at a barn in the middle of a vineyard. I think we might have already passed it. I was talking, no, here it is right here. This is the vineyard they shot him at. You see that house way out there? There's a barn out there. And it sounds like that's about where he was. It said he was running through the vineyards towards 101 where we're at. So kind of a crazy day. So in our office, well, Wednesday we ended up, since it was on shelter in place, we couldn't go to work. I did have one worker that had made it to the office before we told everyone don't go into work. So she got locked down there. She did end up leaving though, and going home about, I think 2, probably just before they actually lifted the lockdown. And then when we were at work, they issued another shelter in place because of what was going on. But they ended up lifting it, I think like right at 5 o'clock, like right when we were getting ready to get out of there. That was lifted. So that was, I don't know, hopefully that made some sense there. That was Wednesday and Thursday for us here. So now hopefully we'll be back to a peaceful Friday. It's Friday, TGIF. They did confirm that the weapons used were stolen last week in a commercial burglary in San Luis Obispo. I don't know if that was tied to the break-ins after the protest. I thought they arrested those kids and said they weren't associated with the protest, but who knows? So now they're trying to find a motive. The sheriff's pretty certain it was a planned attack against law enforcement, which it really does seem that way. The father of the suspect said he's had very severe mental health issues his whole life, and thinks it was a suicide by cop. But I don't know, usually a suicide by cop, it's usually like an empty gun and you do something stupid and try to get shot. This guy was attacking and then run away and hiding, attacking and then running away and hiding. It's sad on all parts. This reading the history of this kid, he's has severe mental health issues, and his dad said he wouldn't take his meds. You know, the mental health care system in this state, probably the whole country, really does need help. It sucks. A lot of my clients that we deal with social services suffer mental health issues, and that's sad, especially when you see them trying to get help and it's just not there. All right, everybody, have a good Friday. Catch y'all next time.